Hi everyone, welcome to today's feature of What's Cooking Carmen. Today I'm going to be making truffle bacon shrimp carbonara with homemade pasta for my husband and I for lunch. I hope you guys enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I have here 2 cups of flour and we're going to make some fresh pasta with this. The first thing you want to do is make a well in the center of your flour. That way you can put in your eggs. On the side, I have a little amount of flour as well. And some water, room temperature, just in case. You don't want to use cold water because it will hinder the development of gluten. So you want to use room temperature water. Okay, so I think I have a big enough well here for my eggs. I do have quite a few, so I want to make sure I make a big enough well. So here I have 3 eggs and 1 egg yolk. And I'm just going to pour that into the center here. Oop, if it spills over a little bit, that is okay. I did not make a big enough well, but that is fine. I'm just going to mix it into the flour. Okay, let's just get this all in here. So you want to mix the eggs in the middle. And if you make a mess like me, that is perfectly okay. So mistakes happen and that is perfectly fine. Look at this huge mess that I made here, but we're going to make it work. I'm just going to keep on whisking and bringing the eggs back in and getting a little bit of flour in while I do this. Cooking is all about trial and error, so you learn from your mistakes. Obviously, I did not make my well big enough for the amount of eggs that I had, but that is perfectly fine. We're still going to make it work. I'm just mixing it. I switched over to my hand, and I wanted to gather all the egg back towards the center. See where it broke off here because I didn't make it big enough. And I'm just going to keep on mixing and keep on bringing in a little bit more flour until this becomes a dough for me. In the future, I'd probably make a well about this big and have all the flour surrounding around and just crack the eggs in the center directly onto the counter and slowly mix in the flour like this. Eventually it'll start coming together. See, it's still pretty soft, so I still want to incorporate a little bit more flour, but it is coming together and it's getting less sticky. It's still sticking to my hands a little bit because this is still middle process. And so now you just want to knead the heck out of this. You want to knead this for about 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to give an exact time frame because it really depends. You just want to knead this until it becomes smooth, and then we'll wrap it and rest it for like 30 minutes. If it becomes dry at all, just add a little bit of the water that we have on the side, and if it becomes too sticky, too wet, just bring in a little bit of the flour that you have. You want to use all of your body weight when you're kneading this. Make sure you really push into it. When your dough gets to about this state, you want to just try kneading it with just your palms and to stop using your fingers underneath. That way you're not pulling the dough because you want the bottom surface to be really smooth. At some point in this process, when you're sweating and kneading like crazy with this really rough looking surface, you're gonna think to yourself you want to scrap your dough, but don't, just keep on kneading and eventually you'll get this nice smooth surface. These bits and pieces on the top here, they're just like little pieces of dough. You could always brush that off if you want, or if you want to keep on kneading, you could keep on kneading and get it to the super smooth surface. I'm happy with this, so now I'm just going to take my piece of plastic wrap. Now I'm going to cover this up like this, that way it doesn't dry out. And I'm just going to leave it on my counter to rest for about 30 minutes before I start rolling it out with my roller. stage, my dough has rested for a little over 30 minutes actually. So now it's going to be nice and pliable and easy to work with. It's going to be like Play-Doh texture. At this point, you just want to cut this into 4 pieces and you want to flour each piece. That way they're a little less sticky and easier to run through your pasta roller. Okay, so we have our stand mixer all set up here with the pasta sheet roller attachment. I floured my pasta doughs all nice, that way they're not sticky when they're running through. Now I'll just need to flatten these out, that way they fit in nicely. So I've just flattened it to about this size with my roller. And I'm just gonna run it through. Here, the first few times, I'm just going to run it through, then fold it into thirds and run it through on the same setting. I would say maybe the first 1 to 2 times. That way I can just get it to a nice size that runs through the pasta sheet roller really easily. Once I've got it down to size, I'm going to begin by increasing the level slowly. I started, well actually I keep the speed at 2 and I just keep increasing the dials with each time I run it through until I get my desired thinness. You can get it to as thin as you like it. You don't want to get it too thin so that it breaks apart. I notice with me, I like it at a level 5 thinness. I'm just going to run it through to cut strands of spaghetti. I have a bowl of flour on the side, that way I can flour them as they come out. So let's bring this back up to speed 2. And we're on the spaghetti roller now. Let's cut it. This is perfect. Got one stuck here. I turned it down to a simmer for now, but we're gonna render down some bacon. If you have pancetta, that's more traditional to carbonara, but I don't have pancetta, but I do have bacon, so I'm gonna use bacon. You wanna start with a cold pan to get it more crispy. If you like it more chewy, start with a preheated pan. So I'm going to put my bacon in first into my cast iron skillet. Then I'm going to turn the heat on afterward. Now the middle one's pretty hot, it gets pretty high, so I'm just going to turn it down to like a medium high and just let it render down. While the bacon is rendering, I'm going to go ahead and make the sauce for the carbonara. In a bowl, I've added 3 egg yolks, some freshly grated Parmesan cheese that I grated earlier. I'm going to add some black truffle oil, just a drizzle of this because the one that I have is very potent. I'm going to also add some freshly ground black pepper and some freshly ground sea salt as well. Once your bacon gets to about this state, you should start to take it out and drain off the oil. It's going to keep cooking outside of the heat, so this is the perfect state to pull it out. We've drained everything but about a tablespoon of oil. of the bacon grease, and I'm going to turn this on high. That way we can just get a good sear on our salt, pepper, little drizzle of truffle oiled shrimp. Once you've flipped all of your shrimp, this is when you want to add your pasta to your salted boiling water. Fresh pasta cooks really fast, so this is a good point. It really only takes a few minutes. Now for the shrimp, you can tell that it is done once that line down the center of your shrimp starts turning opaque and is not so transparent anymore. Our fresh pasta is ready. It only takes, I said a few seconds earlier, but actually it's just a few minutes. So I'm going to scoop this directly from here into that sauce. I added a little bit of bacon to start, and I'm going to reserve some pasta water to make it a little saucier. So I switched the whisk out for my tongs and the wooden spoon. Now I'm just going to mix it through. If it feels a little thick, just add a little bit of pasta water to loosen it up. I added a drizzle more of the truffle oil, some salt, pepper, and a little bit more of Parmesan. So now you want to add in your shrimp and a little bit of the bacon just for some texture throughout, but save most of your bacon for the top to sprinkle. That way they stay nice and crispy. At this point, you can also add in extra salt, pepper, or Parmesan cheese if you'd like as well. Just to your liking. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next weekend.